where solitude whispers the truth of your significant place in completing the whole. Loneliness screams the lie that we do not have a place in the whole. The whole is complete, and we are left outside of it.
Monsters wanna talk to me. No quarter drawn.
Monster Whisperers, hello. In case you don't know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I hope some of my content has helped you in exploring your own mental wellness. Creating this content has been helpful for me, and I remain grateful to those of you who have taken the time to explore with me. It seems that things happen during the course of my days that grab my attention, cause me to pause and ask, what exactly is going on here? Latest case in point, with this being Mental Health Awareness Month, I've noticed a lot of articles calling attention to our culture's growing issues around loneliness. You know how it is, even in a crowd of people, you can still feel all alone. It certainly is a growing problem, which is why I'm appreciative of the work some of my new friends are doing to help men and women make space to connect. Sean Emerson with menliving.org and Tanya Rivers with Mothers in Construction at mothersincon.org. Both are amazing humans doing what they can to make the areas of the world they touch better. It wasn't just the focus on loneliness, though, that caught my attention. The ironic thing is that in the midst of all of this talk of confronting loneliness, I'm reading a book on solitude. That's just weird to me. So I decided to lean into it. Why were loneliness and solitude brought to me simultaneously? Is there a relationship there we need to learn from? What's the difference in being alone in loneliness versus being alone in solitude? Let's jump into it. I'll start by explaining this book I'm reading. It's called Backpacking with the Saints, Wilderness Hiking as Spiritual Practice by Belden C. Lane. I've always had an interest in a group of old mystics known as Desert Fathers and Mothers. These were 3rd century Christians who left their homes and decided to pursue God in the desert wilderness of Egypt. Their writings have fascinated me throughout the years, and they help me understand the value of pursuing God in solitude. I'd say I've pursued God in solitude in smaller increments, never to the level of these mystics, but I've been curious about deepening those experiences on my own. I saw this book that fits in with my reality of having access to wilderness literally just outside of town, so I decided to read it. The weird thing is, this book is not entirely about solitude. That's just one part of the book, but it was the exact part of the book I was reading while these articles on loneliness were popping up. Again, too ironic to not pay attention to it. There are plenty of benefits to pursuing time of solitude. For self-proclaimed introverts like myself, the obvious benefit is to recharge. But the most intriguing benefit I read about in this book is specifically in the context of solo backpacking. Being alone in the wilderness where only you are responsible for you. Now, it's easy for me to say I'm responsible for me as I sit on this chair in my home. It's another thing to say it while I'm miles away from other humans in an environment where I no longer play the lead role in my own life. When you remove yourself from the civilized world, it doesn't take long to recognize you're no longer the center of your universe. Rather, you're an integrated part of a greater whole. Nothing in that context cares about your safety and well-being. In fact, there are things in that environment directly acting against your safety and well-being. You may not be helpless, but you are not entirely in control either. That carries with it the discovery of a new perspective of who you are in this world. You're forced to keep your gaze outside of yourself as a safety mechanism. If you don't, you might miss signs of dangerous animals in the area, or you may miss a bend in your route that takes you off course. Or you could simply slip on a rock or log and end up with a broken ankle. You have to keep your perspective outside of yourself. With this perspective, you quickly realize your humble place in a much larger world. But there's another side of this discovery that may seem counterintuitive. You discover that your humble place in the world is important, that being a part in the whole is significant because the whole cannot be complete without you. Please let that sink in. The whole cannot be complete without you. But you need to recognize the whole in order to understand that. And that requires seeing the world more clearly as it is outside of yourself. Wow, I think think I just got it. The difference in the power of solitude versus the pain of loneliness. With solitude, you are alone, but your perspective is anchored to the bigger picture which you are always a part of. With loneliness, you may not be alone, but your perspective is very much centered on you. You lose sight of your significance in the whole. Where solitude whispers the truth of your significant place in completing the whole, loneliness screams the lie that we do not have a place in the whole. The whole is complete, and we are left outside of it. When we believe the lie, we feel lonely in a crowd. When we discover the truth, we feel loved within creation. Find time for solitude. Trust the truth that you are a necessary part of the whole, which cannot be complete without you. How does this help you better understand your identity? How can your identity be used within the context of the greater whole? Great questions to reflect on in solitude. Have a great day, my friends, and as always, keep whispering.
Monsters wanna talk to me.